Today I want to talk about the process of drawing this Jeep. This was done as a demonstration for my students a few years back when I used to teach perspective drawing here in Brazil. So basically the idea was to sketch out a scene, understand what the angle is going to be for the Jeep, and then get that to a final line work. So I started sketching without a lot of references, so mostly references from Jeeps and not scenes, but that wasn't really helpful. So I went into Evan Richards' website. I'll have the link in the description below. And he has a lot of cinematography stills from movies. So I got a lot of them trying to understand what that scene could look like and gather inspiration. So I found this one. I really enjoyed it. But I wanted like the soldiers to be closer to the Jeep and the Jeep be the side of what we were looking at. So basically plotting down and trying to understand what that would look like. I was not planning on going all the way, so it's just to give an idea for my students of what the scene could finally look like, blocking a little bit of the values and understanding overall what that could be. So finally, I got to a point where I was at least happy with what I had, so I started plotting down the vanishing lines that go to the horizon line, so the perspective lines, and start the whole process of understanding what that final product would look like. So measuring my reference, I think that's a big part of that, understanding the proportions inside a Jeep. What's the relationship in height between the wheels and the rest of the body of the car? What's the relationship in the wheelbase in terms of how many wheels does a Jeep have between both rear and front wheels, as well as the side view. How many wheels do you have from one side to the next? So that's we can see that I'm plotting down in terms of wheels. So even the height being measured in terms of wheels, so I can use diagonals and really have all the construction aspects that I'll need for this. I have discussed this on other videos, drawing a door, as well as my 6 steps guide to learning perspective. So that would be super helpful if you watch that, or if you have already watched as well. So getting a lot of those measurement lines to the final drawing. I'll use lower the opacity on this layer later on, so I can draw over that. But here it's really important that I use this layer for all the construction aspects. So where the windshield is gonna be, where the seats are, all the cut lines, all the information, small information that I wanna really put in there. The tires, what that's gonna look like, the cut in the body of the car for the tires, for the wheels, what's that gonna look like as well. So a lot of different measurements that I need to bring here. So headlights and so on. So we're gonna see that it becomes a mess really quickly. So you really need to pay attention on to what you're doing, to really not lose the focus here. Otherwise you're gonna really get lost really quickly. So bringing all the details in there, and then we're gonna start adding more ellipses to the wheelbase because there are lots of details inside the wheels, and we're gonna need that. So I'm considering the minor axes of those ellipses, as well as now I plotted all the vanishing lines, all the perspective lines, to really have something that makes sense and that is symmetrical between both wheels. That's really important so that we can get that believability across. I can do that just with my visual perception. Yes, I could, but probably that if your visual perception is not really on point, it can damage your work really quickly. So now I'm working on a draw through approach, so understanding what's back there, so that I can have and this was divided into multiple sessions, so bear that in mind as well. So now the final session is going into Linework, so getting a lot of details and listening to some Linkin Park in there, getting a lot of those details, what the windshield's gonna look like, what kind of details I'm gonna add, so logos, numbers, letters, and all of that will really create and convey the believability. Even the windshield that you can fold on top of the body of the car. So a lot of those things are really important to make it work. So the shovel in there, the seats, what do they look like? This is an important part because of scale. The seats convey a lot of the scale of the car. To be honest, looking back here, I'm not enjoying that much what I did with the scale in there. I hope I change a little bit those seats so that they can be a little bigger, just a little bit, because Jeep seats tend to be small, but it would be great to have them a little bigger. A lot of small details of ropes and all the equipment needed. I don't know if I added a wheel, a tire to the rear end of the Jeep, but that would be interesting as well. I don't think so. I think I stopped with this. The details on the wheels are gonna be crazy. So yeah, we had another session in there for this. So yeah, basically adding a lot of those details. As I said, the details on the wheels and the tires specifically are painful to some extent, so take your time, listen to good music, don't bother with those, because they will definitely help. Using the tools in Photoshop to help make that happen, and oh, I added like the rear tire because it's really important. So you can already see that a lot of the construction that we did before is really helpful at this point. So I don't have to go back and build anything at all. I'm just adding details on top of things that we have already solved. The problems were already solved when I started. So that's the importance of doing that previously. So once again, take your time. I used a copy and paste there just so that I don't have to draw everything again. But that would be interesting as well if I wanted to. Adding finer details, smaller details here and there. So this is an important point. Even making notes, and I've said that in other videos as well, will go a long way in design. So understanding what are the parts that build a Jeep like this, and looking at your reference and getting all that information down on paper so that you don't forget that later on. So side lights, numbers, and a star, logos, tire, spare tire, equipment inside for transportation, antennas, a lot of this stuff, fuel, extra fuel, ropes, a lot of this stuff will go a long way. So now I'm changing the line weight on some of the details, so I can have more a better readability. But going back, the design is really important at this point. So take your time, really enjoy the process and what you're doing. Have fun doing this kind of work, because it shows. It shows. If you're enjoying and having that amount of fun, even going in the details of the line weight here to really convey a better silhouette, it will go a long way. So final detail here, just adding a little bit of a shadow in there, just below the car. I'm not gonna do internally, but it gives it grounds the vehicle, the object. So that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you probably will enjoy my guide to studying perspective, and I hope to see you all in another video down the line. Thanks for watching and have a great day.